We are diving into a symbol that is so much more than just a pretty design. We're going to look at the Hermetic Rose, not as some static old drawing, but as a living, dynamic map, a kind of blueprint for consciousness and for reality itself. So let's jump right in. Okay, so take a look at this. I mean, at first glance, it's just this intricate, ancient-looking diagram, right? But what if I told you this wasn't just a drawing? What if you were looking at a map?
That's really the journey we're going on here. We're going to use this incredible symbol to peer right into the fabric of existence. We'll explore all its layers of meaning, from ancient mysticism all the way to modern science.
To really understand the whole picture, we have to start with the pieces. And the first layer of this map is its foundational symbolism, which is rooted deep in traditional Hermetic philosophy. Right at the very heart of it, this whole symbol is a union of two things, the cross and the rose. The cross is what grounds us. It represents our material world, the intersection of space and time. But the rose, that's the spiritual potential that's blooming within that structure. In Hermeticism, they call this the conjunctio. Think of it like the sacred marriage of the physical, earthly world and the divine spiritual one. Now, look closely at the petals. You'll see there are 7 in each ring. And believe me, that number is no accident. 7 is a huge deal in this system. It ties into the 7 classical planets, the 7 core metals of alchemy, and even the 7 main chakras. You can almost think of them as the 7 fundamental notes that the universe plays, the core vibrations of all reality. And what about those letters, A through G? Well, they're not random either. They actually represent a very specific sequence, the Chaldean order of the planets. This creates what's known as a ladder of ascent, a symbolic path for our own spiritual evolution, starting with Saturn, the densest, farthest planet we can see, and climbing all the way to the moon, the closest and most subtle force acting on us. Every single letter is a step on that journey. But here's the thing, this cosmic map isn't just about the universe out there. It's also deeply, deeply personal. It's a guide for the alchemical journey of the soul, a transformation that happens right inside of you. Now, when we talk about alchemy, we're not talking about literally turning lead into gold. The real alchemical work, the opus, is all internal. It's about refining your own soul, your own consciousness, taking that base or lead-like awareness and transmuting it into a state of golden enlightenment. And each of those planets and letters on our ladder marks a stage on this path. So we start at A, that's Saturn, which represents lead, and what alchemists called the negretto, or the darkness. You can think of it as the raw, unrefined stuff we start with. Then, as we move up through the planetary energies, we slowly purify ourselves, eventually getting to D, the sun, which is all about gold and true illumination. It's literally a complete roadmap for personal transformation.
Okay, so this idea of inner transformation, of moving from one state to another, it might sound like something out of an ancient mystical text. But this is where things get absolutely mind-bending. The structure of this ancient map has some shocking parallels with the strange and beautiful world of quantum physics. You see, in the quantum world, there's this wild idea called superposition. It basically means a particle can be in all of its possible states at the exact same time. It just exists as a wave of pure potential. Well, you can think of the Hermetic Rose, before we really engage with it, as a symbol of that pure potentiality, all possible outcomes existing all at once. So if the rose is pure potential, what makes it real? Well, that's where the cross comes in. The cross acts as the framework, the measuring tool, the observer. And just like in quantum physics, the act of observing collapses that wave of infinite possibilities into one single concrete reality. The symbol itself is showing us how the universe works.
And it goes even deeper than that. Think of the petals as being quantumly entangled. What that means is they aren't separate individual pieces. They are fundamentally linked because they are all expressions of the same unified thing. So if you were to focus on one petal, let's say the energy of Mars, you would instantly, without any time delay, affect the state of all the other petals. This concept of profound interconnectedness brings us to the final and maybe the most stunning layer of this map, the idea that the symbol and the universe it represents actually works like a hologram. This is the core principle of Hermeticism, and it's really the key to the whole holographic idea. It means the patterns of the largest scales, the macrocosm, are reflected in the patterns of the smallest scales, the microcosm. The universe is literally mirrored inside of you. So the holographic principle suggests that all the information needed to make the whole thing is packed into every single one of its parts. It's why if you break a hologram, each tiny piece can still project the entire image. And in the exact same way, a single petal of the Hermetic Rose contains the blueprint for the entire symbol, and by extension, for the entire cosmos. We've talked about the cosmos, alchemy, quantum physics, but what does all this mean for you, the person looking at this map right now? Well, this final layer brings it all right back home. Remember how the source material mentioned the name Christine? That's not just some random detail. It acts like a personal signature, an observer's key. It's the element of individual consciousness that plugs into this universal map, taking its vast potential and bringing it into a specific personal focus. And what this all means is that this symbol is not a dead artifact you'd find in a museum. It's a living tool. It's a dynamic glyph. Its meaning isn't set in stone. It actually responds and changes based on the consciousness of the person who's interacting with it. It's like a mirror reflecting the state of whoever is looking into it. So the Hermetic Rose is a map of everything. The cosmos, the soul, reality itself, but, a map is useless without someone to read it. Your consciousness, that's the key that pits the lock. So the only real question left is, where will you choose to go?